Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. Joining me today is Dutch Dills, and we are, I guess, kind of going through a restructuring with the podcast. I don't know how else to put it. Basically, I'm looking at different ways to change up the podcast, make it interesting, change the dynamic. So basically, here's what I'm laying out, right? The interviews will stay as normal. It will be me interviewing another person in that manner. It seems to work. People seem to like it. That's how it'll be. You'll get occasional episodes where it's just me talking at length about a particular topic because I can't think of any other way else to do it. It depends. I go into a lot of research just like I do with the interviews. It works. I don't know necessarily that it's what everyone else is into, but I like doing them from time to time, and they bridge the gap here and there. So you'll occasionally see those. And also, more recent development is that Dutch Deals will be joining me on a more of a permanent basis, and we will be doing these type of podcasts where we pretty much discuss anything. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to make the podcast kind of dynamic, like different levels and stuff, different things going on, because you can never really bank on people's schedules and stuff, and I want to keep this podcast going as much as I possibly can, which is why I came up with this idea of having different styles, different levels, and it makes it interesting because you never know. Every time that you drop on the YouTube and you check this podcast out, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you never know what to expect, and I kind of like that element to a podcast. I think it makes it more interesting and kind of makes it more interesting in terms of like the anticipation. You never know what to expect. You never know what the next thing is going to be. And obviously the last episode 30, we did a Ask Christian, and it's had a couple of views. There's a bit of an interest there. I think as we grow as a podcast, it will become more interesting, and certainly when we get more questions coming in, we can make it into more of a regular thing. But for now, I wanted to take this moment to welcome Dutch Dills aboard officially. So he's going to be a co-host of sorts. And we're just going to see where this train rolls and see what happens. Just real quickly, I just wanted to say, 30 episodes, we did it. And thanks to Dutch Dills for appearing on that episode. And to the next 30 or 20 or 50 or however many.
730.
700. That's very specific.
No.
Anyways, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Shortly before this podcast started, I noticed that when I forgot that the camera was mirrored,
Okay.
and I did this. So sorry if you can't see this, I'm holding up my fingers so that it looks like a 30. But I forgot that it was mirrored, so it was 0 and 3.
Yeah.
So it's not the 30th episode; it's the 03th episode.
I kind of can't believe it's got to 30 already. I mean, it's gone quite quickly. Admittedly, I don't have like a clear schedule for this, but I've kind of done that on purpose, because one thing that did kind of stress me out when I did the TCJ podcast was that it was every week. It was like, we have to have one every week. And even though it was just once a week and you think, oh, that's not that difficult, is it? It just felt like there was this pressure to come up with something. And I feel like it's better if you do them as and when you actually have an idea, when you have something to bring to the table. It's the same the way that I approach.
Rather than sort of fabricating something on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it. That's not to say it doesn't work, but I think it's a lot better when you come in with a clear idea.
Yeah, when you know what you want to do. I have this similar thing with vlogs. I mean, or just videos in general. I try and upload as frequently as possible, but if I was to upload once a week, like my last vlog that I did, I felt like it was just empty because it was me on a day off, and I wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah.
So, apologies if that vlog wasn't up to standard, but the Burger King one should come soon, and I mean, we could talk about that more a bit later on if you want. But
I think you touched on a good point there, actually. Just real quick, I wanted to say that too, because I've said this in recent vlogs on my second channel, that at the end of the day, that's kind of the whole reason I made a second channel as well, is that there would be a place where I could just randomly put any old shit with no planning and stuff. And I am working on it. I am trying to make it better, and it seems to be the hub for like when there's something trending and I'm interested in saying something on it, that's where I put it. Or if I find something quirky or I just fancy doing a random vlog, I'll put it there. But with the main channel, I seem to be approaching it in this very serious manner. Like, you know, I've got to take this seriously and I can't just put any old thing there. And, you know, I really think about it. And it has been overkill. For anyone subscribed to my channel lately, it's been like several uploads a day. And a lot of that is because everything has been pre-scheduled. So that's one of the reasons why. But another reason is that I'm trying to keep it varied at the moment, because there's going to be a point where the Let's Play series ends. And then it's going to go back to, you know, not very often vlogs. And for me, that's kind of a good thing, because I've built up a bunch of content for people to I guess like a content backlog or whatever, if you want to call it that. And I'm basically following your approach as well. Like I don't, for instance, my vlog series, I think I have like 34 vlogs. But they seem to do a lot better when they're like once in a while and they're on a particular topic. So like my last one was on being unemployed for 6 months or however long it's been. So I knew what I was going to talk about. I knew I had like a kind of, I guess, approaching it like a story in a way. I think that's like what a good vlog is. It's like either you're laying down that particular day or a particular thing or moment, or you're trying to kind of just throw your thoughts on a particular thing. But it's
like a friggin' Netflix episode.
I mean, in a way, that's the funny thing as well, is I look at the lengths of them and I never anticipate them to be that long, but they end up like, they really vary as well. They can be anything from say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes even in some cases. And that's not planned. You know, I come into it with like, okay, I'm going to speak about this, and this, and anything else, whatever. And I think I do a pretty good job of trying to keep them comprehensive, I guess, succinct, whatever. But I do approach them differently on that main channel as opposed to the second channel, which I feel goes back to what you were saying before about, you know, it's better to take the time to do that rather than just throw it out there. Like when you're unsure and you're like, oh, maybe I'll do a vlog, maybe
I don't feel good about that last vlog. Like I knew the day after I saw the views, and it's got my regular audience, about 26, 28, around that, but it's not up to par of, say, a different vlog that has about 80 views.
Yeah. I think a lot of these things do take time as well. I mean, because they have different purposes. Like when I look at the clips for my podcast, for instance, and the podcast in general, like they don't suddenly do tons of views. Occasionally I get a particular guest, they'll come on, maybe they have a big following and then they got a lot of views, right? That does happen. But sometimes like randomly certain clips or certain episodes pick up a lot of traction after some time. For me, I'm not that bothered if the clips don't get a lot of views. Like for me, it's more about attracting people to the podcast via the clips. That's kind of my mentality for that. But when it comes to the vlogs or the acting videos or the music videos or whatever, that's the same. I had the same mentality as you. It's like, I feel like it should be planned. You should take your time, you know, in a way, like reward your regular audience. Like don't just put any old shit there. But I suppose like you can't always get it 100% right. Like, but I feel like if you at least come in with a plan, then you've got something to work with at least.
Yeah. I'm starting up a new sort of series. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I've figured out how I want to do it. And my friend Louis, the editor that I told you about, he's been editing my last couple of videos, and he's made for me a montage for a game, Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh yeah, I saw you drop that. Yeah.
I'm thinking about making a little mini montage. I've uploaded the first one, and when I say mini montage, it is pretty small because I wanted to. It's about 1 minute and 36.
Oh wow.
I've got a plan for that. I'm using it as a teaser. I'm using it as bait.
Do you know what? In all honesty, you'd be better off not posting that on YouTube, but posting it on like Instagram, somewhere like that, where you draw the traction elsewhere, and like people
Should I
prefer
upload it
smaller
to
clips.
Instagram as well?
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general, I feel like those videos tend to do better on those mediums because they're designed for smaller videos. But that being said, I don't know. I mean, you can upload full videos on Instagram as well now, so it's all a bit
Well,
confusing.
I will upload it to Instagram and maybe even Twitter as well, because I mean, using the right hashtags on Instagram and Twitter can bring some people, and
Mm.
if they're interested enough, maybe they'll go onto the channel and maybe watch the video there, or
Hmm.
watch some other stuff, and maybe even luckily subscribe. But I'm just using it to see what people think of it,
Mm.
and then if it gets, I said 10 likes, but if it gets close to 10,
Yeah.
I'll probably make another one which is longer and better and more put together.
You know, when it comes to social media, like Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that, like I get very confused, and I'll tell you why. So I regularly post on Twitter and Instagram. I suppose that's like my main source of just getting the word out. I've taken to uploading on Facebook as well. So I don't upload like random vlogs or anything, but if it's a proper video, like a music video, acting, podcast, whatever, then it will go as an upload on the Facebook. So I won't promote necessarily on the Facebook, but unless it's the podcast,
The Facebook.
the Facebook, yeah.
Is this the 90s again?
Well,
Are you back? Are you back in the 90s?
first of all, Facebook was not invented in the 90s.
Yeah, well,
Second of all, it was originally called the Facebook.
I know that.
And
That's why.
thirdly, pipe down, child.
Oh what? Oh what? Oh what?
Or I'll throw you off. Simple.
No, please.
No, but like as I was saying, I'm trying out something new with it. But with regards to what you were saying before about drawing in audiences, I find it very confusing because occasionally I do find that I am drawing a bit of traction through Instagram and Twitter and stuff. But take my Let's Play series, the Pokemon series, as an example. So I'll have like, Pokemon, retro games, Game Boy, like stuff like that as hashtags, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I expected to get like a sizable amount of views for this Let's Play, and I've got nothing. It's just been dead in the water. I'm waiting for it to end, to be honest. And it's kind of sad. I mean, I did put a lot of time and effort into that, and it didn't work. But these things
Sometimes
happen.
that's just what happens.
Yeah.
YouTube is a big gamble, and it either goes really well or it's a kick in the balls.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think one reason might be that there's just a lot of those Let's Plays. That could be one reason. Another reason, just maybe there's just no interest. Fair enough. But the interesting thing to me is that every time I upload, or onto social media like Twitter, Instagram, whatever, it gets like they get a ton of likes and retweets and all of this, right? But none of those people watch the video, and I don't understand why. I mean, I guess they like the picture maybe, or it's a throwback. But like if you take Twitter, I have the exact same accounts retweeting me every single time. One of them is a retro one, and one is like something else related to gaming.
Watch the video. Stop it.
No, I'm curious. I don't understand that. Or just in general, like accounts that exist just to retweet things that happen to have like a particular keyword in them. I don't understand that. I've never understood that.
Yeah. And back to what you said about Facebook, I've noticed that a lot of my views come from there because
really?
I've boosted a couple of my posts, and they've gotten like 600 to 700 reach, which is like insane. But
how much do you spend?
Just £2, just one day, one day for an advert, and yeah,
that's not bad. 700 reach for £2.
I had spare money. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it, and I got 700 reach, and I was like, all right, I'll consider this again.
Every company I've worked for, like Facebook advertising has always been part of it. but my impression is that it doesn't work. Like, unless I think it might work for certain industries, but for a lot of industries, it just doesn't work for whatever reason. And if you do it, you get like loads of reach and loads of like comments from like, I don't know, Africa, India, whatever, but like they all look like fake accounts, like not real. Like, just I don't really understand that. But like, for instance, when I worked for this finance company a couple of years back, we would do Facebook paid advertising, and it just wouldn't really work. Like, it would work for certain things if you just did like a really basic post, like okay, for that it was trading, like online trading. So it'd be like, open an account, click the banner, and then that'd be it. And then it'd have like a ton of like emojis, like tick, success, graph, whatever. And those would work. But if you did anything else, nothing. And when I say work, like, we're saying it might get like a couple of clicks, a couple of downloads, something like that. But ultimately, it was just pointless. And plus, Facebook has like really strict guidelines on advertising, at least for the financial industry. So as far as like, because I've used Facebook advertising for my pages and stuff, and got like a few likes here and there, but ultimately it's like, it doesn't work. I don't know. Like, I think that you just have to
Very
be very.
confusing system.
Yeah, I just think you have to be very selective with what you do with it, and like, I think a lot of it comes down to luck. I think like it might work if you did like, let's say you're a musician and you do a cover and you boost that. Maybe it could work if the right people see it and they share it into it. But again, even though you're doing paid advertising, it's a sponsored thing. And normally when people see a sponsored thing, the tendency is to kind of ignore it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you occasionally you might look at it. I sometimes get like on Instagram, you get
Yeah,
sponsored
random
posts.
sponsored advertisements.
Yeah, well, I obviously ignore the advertisements, but like, sometimes you get like a sponsored account. So it's a normal Instagram
Yeah,
account.
yeah, that's sort of what I meant. It would be like somebody's like dog or
Yeah.
like someone on a bike doing a stunt or something, which actually draws me in because I like that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Well, it's cheeky because I'll think, oh, it's just a normal post from one of my followers or someone I follow. So I'll double heart it, and then I'll realize like, oh, okay, who's this? And I'll click on it, and I'll realize either that it's just some business, or it is legit just a random normal person that's paid for
Who's
an advertisement.
boosted that? Yeah,
Yeah, but
I've
whatever,
only done it a couple of times, and it was when I had spare money over. I never did consecutive ones. Like I never paid for more than one day, and I never paid more than £2 or £3 because, and I didn't even do it that often because if I got myself too focused on those numbers, I'd keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and eventually I had no money left. So I was smart about the way I did it, but even then, I'd rather make my own audience than like drag them in by sponsoring myself.
I feel like maybe the paid advertising route only really works once you have that established audience. Do you know?
Yeah,
I don't think you can realistically build an audience with that unless you're like a really straightforward business that's selling like confectionery or, I don't know, like flowers or some kind of service. Like, I think it can work.
something like Amazon, maybe.
Maybe, but I'm thinking more like if you're starting up a business, for instance, and you're trying to build a following and stuff. Like, but even then, you have to put a lot of time into like the actual social media game, so to speak, following people, tweeting things, retweeting things, commenting, like all of that stuff that doesn't really seem like a big deal, but is like probably the biggest part of social media as far
Yeah,
as like.
I've dropped off from doing that. I think you
Same.
and I, I think you and I both know that. What's his name? He's Ryan. Ryan
Ryan.
Joseph. Ryan Joseph.
Yes, I remember that guy. What happened to that guy?
I don't know. I tried to message him on Twitter a while ago and nothing.
Uh, okay.
And then he reappeared. He resurfaced on YouTube with an Omegle video.
Okay. Did you say
But
Omegle? Omegle?
it was working, so I might Omegle, whatever it is.
What kind of Omegle video? What, like just him messing
Like it
around?
was, yeah, it was like eating peanut butter and talking to people. It was like eating peanut butter with a spoon.
Random. Yeah, we kind of like spoke about these things, and I kind of um debunked some of the things. Like I disagreed with him on certain things and agreed with him on other things. But as far as like Twitter advertising is concerned, he did actually get results for people. But I kind of said to him, like, I think he should charge from the get-go, and he wanted to offer like a free service, draw people in, then get payment, which is fair enough. That's his own business and stuff.
I
But
mean, it's what he did to me. He asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, "Well, I'm 16. I don't really have any money that I'm making that I can
right, yeah,
give on a regular basis. But if you want to offer tips for free or whatever you want to offer for free to
yeah.
help, that would be great. But I don't want any of your, your paid stuff because I don't want to pay for advice when it might be things I already know."
Well, it wasn't just that. I think he was offering like legit. Like I remember giving him access to. I think originally gave him access to my account or something, but not like direct access. It was like some sort of thing you could do where the person kind of
You gave him your screen kind of.
so I can't remember exactly what it is. It's like this thing you can do where you give them that slight access, and it means that they can like tweet and retweet things from your account, or something. No, or retweet. I don't think they can tweet from your account, but they can definitely retweet things, follow people, etc. But he stopped doing that after a while, and I didn't really say anything.
Well, what I used to do is it actually was working. I went into the sort of like the hashtags that I was posting on my tweets that I was pushing out when I made videos, and I went into there and I started following loads of people and
Right.
retweeting their stuff and commenting and saying, "Oh, good video," things like that. Didn't actually watch the video, so they don't need to know. They don't need to know that.
Unbelievable. Oh, such a liar. I can't believe it.
And I was following them, and then I'd wait a few days,
Yep.
and the ones that didn't follow me back, I'd unfollow those. So it was sort of like a mutual following, but I didn't feel good doing that because they don't follow me because they like who I am. They just followed me because I followed them.
It's a put off for me when I see accounts where, they've got like 3,000 followers and they're following 3,000 people. I know exactly what they're doing from the get go.
Follow for follow.
Well, yeah, but it's not just...
Take my Instagram and Twitter, for example. A lot of my following, it's close to the number of followers, but I'm not following a lot of my followers. I have 87 following and 107 followers.
I just want to say as well, like I'm not saying that I've never engaged in this behavior. I did. I think everyone has at some point when they first start on social media, because it seems like a preferable thing to do. It's the same as like, doing the whole sub for sub shit or whatever. Like it all seems preferable. And then you realize that actually you don't get any kind of meaningful support or following. And that everyone kind of has that same opinion of you of like, oh, you're just one of those people that just endlessly tweets and retweets. So I think everyone kind of goes for that initial thing and then drops off and kind of goes just back to normal, like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm the same. Like I get so many people like randomly follow me and I never follow them back.
I only follow back people that I know on meme accounts. I have 224 followers on Instagram and 80 following. And those 80 are people that I know in real life or meme accounts.
I only really follow people that I actively engage with or become like online friends with or actually know in real life or whatever. And I feel like that works well.
I noticed recently that well, not until recently, but you only just recently followed me back.
Yeah, so I tried this thing where I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just like, meh, I'll see what happens. So I basically unfollowed everyone on Twitter and Instagram. And then I started following people back. And I'm slowly kind of doing it on both accounts.
Just sort of trying to drop off on your following.
I don't know really what I was planning to do. I guess I was trying to like cleanse it or something or try and like start from scratch.
One of my friends did exactly the same thing. he got about 1,000 followers, and then he went to his following
Mm.
and unfollowed everybody, and then followed back like 8 people. Actually, it does look pretty cool. I mean, like a
Yeah.
1,000 followers, and then you're following 8 people.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's kind of a douche move if it's like one of your friends. But I only unfollowed the people on Instagram and Twitter that like we used to be friends in school, but we
I don't think
stopped
any of
talking.
my followers really gave a shit. Like, there's loads of people that still check out my posts on Instagram that I don't follow anymore. Some people that I know as well, or like knew from years ago. But like, I look at it as like I actually follow back people that I'm friends with or who actively talk to me or whatever. Like, a lot of it was to kind of just, yeah, because there were some people that I didn't like anymore for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still testing stuff out really, and just kind of seeing what's what. But definitely as I grow and like, because the accounts are still growing, um, and I feel like when you get to a certain point as well, where you start actually getting some degree of success or something, you're not going to be able to control your follow count, as in who's following you, and it's going to be impossible to go through all of that stuff. So I want to sparingly choose who I follow and stuff. And
Yeah,
keep it to just kind of friends, and I don't want to follow people just because like of some kind of like niceties and stuff. Like I want to actually follow people I'm friends with and like actually have engagements with. Kind of treat it like Facebook, I guess.
I mean, like
Um,
what I've seen quite a lot from YouTubers
mm,
is they'll say, "Tweet me a photo of you buying my merch, and I'll follow you back."
ugh, hate that. Hate stuff like that.
I mean,
I
I can see why, because it gives initiative to want to buy the merch. But maybe I don't know. There's two ways you can look at it. One being, if you buy my merch, I'll follow you, and the other one is sort of, um, well, look, I'm thankful that you bought my merch. I'll follow you back, and you can just message me whenever you want. There's two
This is going
ways
to
you can
sound
sort of look at it.
controversial, but I'm just going to say it. Like, to me, that's almost like e-begging. It's just like, if you're that big enough already, you already have a big enough following, you have people buying your merch, supporting you. I mean, do you know what I mean? I'd kill to have just followers, people that actually gave a shit about what I was doing. To then ask those same people
I don't even have
continuously.
a big goal. Like
Okay.
for YouTube, I'd be happy to just have 1,000 followers
But like, as I was saying, like,
or 1,000 subs.
for me, it bothers me that those big successful YouTubers do that. Because it's like they've already got everything they want. And now they're kind of just taking it to the nth degree. Like, if people want to buy your merch, they will buy it. Like, you don't need to keep reminding them every 5 fucking seconds. Like, hey, buy my merch. Hey, buy my merch. Hey, buy my merch. Like, it's just to me, it's just like a bit. I don't know what the word is, but like there are other examples in life of when people do stuff like this, and I just feel it's kind of low. It's not really like it's okay. Don't get me wrong. It's fine to like tweet out and say, hey, I've got this new T-shirt. Would really
If you
appreciate
want
it.
to buy it, that would be much
Yeah,
appreciated.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like stuff like that. I'm not saying like don't promote yourself, because obviously that like you're going to promote yourself, but to like endlessly do it. Like I remember back in the day seeing Logan Paul do it, and it would just bother me the way he would do it. Like he would just be like, buy my merch," or like he'd do some whole skit or thing, and then it would just be a big massive plug for his merchandise. And it's like,
Yeah, like like one of his friends would say, "Hey Logan, what shirt are you wearing there?" "Oh, it's the brand new
well, I don't mind that so much. I mean, it's kind of he's just having a laugh with stuff like that. That's fine. I mean, I'm more
I
talking
just
about
don't
like
like him.
well, fair enough, each to their own. Oh, actually, speaking of Logan Paul,
Although his Snapchat stories are okay to watch, so I would say he's okay in small doses.
for me, like I look at people, I take people as they are. Uh, I don't watch his content because it's just I'm not his audience. Do you know what I mean? Like that's
Me
fair enough.
neither.
But I respect him. I think he's a cool guy. I think he's in the sense that like I've always been behind like underdogs, behind people who fuck up. Like to me, he's a normal human being. He fucked up. He learned from his mistakes.
He's
He
made
moved on.
a
Do you know
lot
what
of
I mean?
mistakes, but
Yeah.
at the same time, he still has 10 million subscribers. So
No.
what really did he do wrong? Because I mean, you can't hate him so much that you like 10 million people unsubscribe from him. If he still has a following,
Mm.
then he's doing all right, isn't he?
I think. Do you know what? Like, I can't speak for everyone, but like, if you remember the dead body thing, I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, that's really fucked up. Like him and his mates, look at that's sick. And then there was the thing with the rat, but I remember thinking about it afterwards, like
It was
just
really insincere apology.
yeah, like I kind of looked at it like, okay, he's this young guy, young kid, even early 20s at the time. And think about it. If you suddenly, like, okay, you're 16 right now. Imagine that you suddenly become super rich and successful on YouTube. You've got a massive following. Pretty much everywhere you go, people, are constantly surrounding you. Like they love you, all this. Like that's going to change the way that you see the world, the way you approach things. The friends around you are going to be different. Like a lot of things are going to change in your life. And I feel like I'm not like defending what he did, but at the same time, I feel like, it does change your perspective on things. And I reckon that based on what I've seen from him and over the years, I think he kind of came to that realization of like, you know what, I kind of went crazy for a little bit of time. And now I've kind of seen some sense and grown up a bit and kind of just realized like, okay, this is what's happened. Whereas I feel like because like, especially if you look at his brother right now, I feel like his brother's still going through it. Jake is still going through the kind of craziness of it all. And that kind of illustrates the difference between the two. It's like you got
Yeah,
one that's kind of come out the other end.
Because Logan, he's in no way a bad guy. He's really good at what he does. I mean, he must be. Um, but Jake, I don't know why I just can't stand him. I can't.
Yeah,
Because
I've been
Logan's
really
a
harsh
bit
on him
meh.
before, and I'm gonna be a bit fair to Jake for once. I'm gonna say I feel bad for him because I feel like
He's in his brother's shadow.
no, not even. I'd say if anything, they're equal because they're different people. That's the thing. They are totally different people. I feel like they kind of come as a package in the sense that like they've both become famous really early on in their lives, right? Because don't forget, Jake is a couple of years younger than Logan, and like I can remember what I was like in my early 20s. Like I'm not saying that all 20-year-olds are like this. Maturity is relative. It depends, but I definitely did not feel like an adult at like 21. Do you know what I mean? Or 20. I felt like I still felt like a fucking clueless kid. I mean, even now I'm 27 and I am starting to feel like an adult, but there's still so much. Like the reality of being an adult is you don't know what the fuck you're doing most of the time, but you learn to kind of be calm and just take each situation as it comes, learn, gain experience, and move forward. And then you just kind of go through life like winging it, but like trying to learn, trying to, take the advice of others and do
But
it your way, right?
that's just it though. I mean, Logan made a mistake, and
Mm-hmm.
the adult thing was to learn from it and
Right.
grow from it, and he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do things wrong, you won't learn.
Mm.
He he did the wrong thing by instead of just shutting the camera off and walking away, he kept on with it, and he tried to keep the video going, but he didn't know how, so he sort of just kind of got stuck.
Mm.
But he didn't he didn't know what to do. And then once all of the backlash hit him, he was like, "Yeah, that was wrong. I'm not going to do that again."
Yeah, I don't think he realized the weight of the situation until some time afterwards. I mean, obviously his apology thing was a big part of that. He was just trying to play the game, and I think then he kind of realized, like, oh, actually, like maybe after some time reflection, months had gone. I think he lost some sort of partnership thing deal that he had,
Disney, wasn't it?
I think that was Jake Paul, not Logan.
I'm gonna look it up because that's gonna annoy me.
Yeah. But basically my point being that he had time to reflect on it, and I feel like that's when the realization came of like, okay, I fucked up, time to move forward. But like, it's interesting, like when you hear all the people around him, the people who meet him, other YouTubers from the UK that have met him and spoken to him, apparently he seems like a pretty down to earth bloke, like well mannered, good guy. And
He
that's kind of
lost he lost 5 million when he got removed from Google Preferred in January.
What's Google Preferred?
I think it's sort of like an inner circle of YouTubers that get recommended the most and get sort of pushed out the most. Like, your
Google this shit.
Your YouTube icons, I guess it would be. So like PewDiePie and all of those other ones.
There's so many things that Google do that I've never heard of. Like, I heard of this thing the other day. I found it on YouTube. It's like Talks by Google, or Google Talks. It's essentially basically TED Talks, but Google's version. And I was like, what the fuck? Never heard of this. And it had like millions of views and stuff, and it was on YouTube. So I subscribed. But I was just like, it's just funny how Google works. Like, Google has all these different products that just no one ever hears about till the last minute. The same with like Google Plus. It was like no one ever used it. But everyone had an account.
So after he uploaded the Suicide Forest video that showed a dead body, it was met with immediate backlash, and YouTube suspended ads from his videos.
Ah, okay.
And in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter about mounting a potential comeback, Paul said he lost an estimated $5 million when YouTube removed him from Google's preferred partner program in January after he posted the video.
When did that happen again? What year was that?
That was 2018, 2019.
Wow.
It was one or 2 years ago.
But he feels like years ago at this point.
He said, I mean, YouTube had to take a stance. They're not going to let some kid fuck up their ad platform.
Yeah.
So I assume that it's the preferred partner program is the YouTubers who are given the ads and who are put in this program to make the most money from sort of YouTube.
Yeah. What do you reckon about, or what are your thoughts on Logan Paul fighting Floyd Mayweather?
I mean, no.
What do you mean no? No.
No.
Just no.
I mean, he very, very barely lost to KSI when he got his points removed.
Yeah.
So that means that he reckons he shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
But...
well, that's the thing. I mean...
Floyd Mayweather... Stop it.
Well, this is money, though. I tweeted about this at the time. I was like, it doesn't matter what you think about Logan Paul. If he's landed this is huge. This is money. Fair play to him. I mean... but
it's not always about the money.
Well, if you're fighting Floyd Mayweather, it is.
If he messes that up, everybody's gonna be, aha, you're the guy who lost to Floyd Mayweather when you thought you could try and fight him.
Yeah, but okay, dude. Be realistic.
I don't know, man.
No. No one expects him to win. Even he knows that he would not win. This is not about beating Floyd Mayweather. This is about getting a fight with Floyd Mayweather and making bank. Yeah, remember when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather? Everyone was saying the same thing. They were like, if this was UFC, he'd kill Floyd Mayweather. But this is boxing. This is a different venue. Conor is restricted. Conor knew that. Conor knew it was about money. Obviously, he took it seriously and stuff, and he tried hard, and he did pretty well considering. But come on, it was about money. That's all it was.
Would you, if somebody gave you a chance to put on gloves and get in a ring with Floyd Mayweather, would you do it?
Yes.
Well, I hope you enjoy drinking out of a straw for the next couple of weeks. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. If someone asked me,
okay. Let's rephrase the question. If I offered you $50 million to fight Floyd Mayweather, Would you do it?
Is the flight first class?
If you want.
I'm in. No,
That's
but
what I mean. Like,
if
someone
someone
asked me
if
the same
someone
question about
genuinely asked me the question, if someone genuinely asked me that question in life, I would
yeah.
have to think about it for a little bit because
Someone asked me the same question about Mike Tyson, and I was like, because I get it, like they could fuck you up, but like let's be honest, if they're gonna be fighting you,
at least you could pay for your hospital bills.
I just don't think that they would go all in with it because they're easily gonna beat you. Do you know what I mean?
So they'd go easy, you think?
Easier, not like because obviously
Easier.
easier. I think so.
Yeah, but going easier for them is just try not to kill the other person, and if they're not dead, then they're all right.
It's an
But going
interesting
going
question, isn't it? Because I think like what we're not considering, like if we go back to Logan Paul for a second, Logan Paul is actually a trained fighter. Yeah, he trained with as an
which is why
amateur.
he was so confident about beating KSI.
Yeah, but he trained as an amateur wrestler. That's the thing. When he was younger, so he was a legitimate like athlete. So going into that fight, yeah, and like I still think, I'm a massive KSI fan. Everyone knows that, but I don't think that like Logan got like whipped. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was at the end of the day, KSI beat him on points, and it was a very controversial fight. There was a lot of shit just in general. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's that sort of thing. If they had a third fight, it could really go either way still. Obviously the
I feel like
first fight was
Logan
a
would win the
draw.
third.
Maybe. It's really hard to say. I mean, it's one of those things. I think from everything that I've heard about fighting in general, particularly in boxing, it comes down to fight day. It comes down to like who's in the mindset. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like based on everything that both of those two guys said.
Well, are you saying that the mind must be master of the
No,
body?
no. What I'm saying is that like
It kind of does.
in the first fight,
little
KSI
bit.
basically said he underestimated Logan and didn't train as hard. And he said if he hadn't have underestimated him and had trained harder, he would have beat him. And in some ways, I kind of see what he means. I still do contend that like fight day mentality is very important. I mean, obviously, with the fight with Joe Weller, it was the same thing. Joe Weller just didn't show up mentally. And you often hear about that idea of like the fight is won in the mind before it's actually won in the ring. Like I remember, what's his name? Boxing champion Tyson Fury said the same thing when he was fighting one of his major rivals. He said that he was in a sauna with this guy, and it was like a classic thing of like sitting in the sauna and waiting to see like who's going to leave first, like classic just like man bullshit, like who's the big man kind of crap. But he won.
I can stand here all day.
That's the thing. He kind of like won that like battle, if you like, and that other guy left. But he said like literally he was prepared to like faint like and not leave because he had to win that like mental battle. And he said that gave him the edge going into the fight. He kind of like knew that he was going to win because he'd already got inside that guy's head. And I feel like a lot of the time when you're talking about boxing alone, and maybe UFC, mixed martial arts fighting as well, it's often about that, getting in your opponent's head, like throwing them off their game and stuff.
Tis but a scratch.
Yeah.
Come on, you yellow.
Bringing it back to like the Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather thing, though, I think it's a kind of a fascinating thing in terms of like, if this is true, if this has actually happened, how have they swung this? Like, how has this become a thing? Like, that's what I'm really fascinated to know, because that says a lot for Logan Paul's team, the people like working behind him, if they've managed to secure this. Like, how did they do that? Because I'm not trying to like belittle Logan Paul, but I feel like this is like, look at it from Floyd Mayweather's perspective, right? He's a retired boxer, right? Who only occasionally comes out of retirement for big money. He's a prize fighter, basically. Let's call him that. He was undefeated in his boxing career. Arguably one of the best of all time. Right now it's all about money, that is what boxing is. That is what fighting is about, right? But he's talking big money. You get in a fight with Floyd Mayweather, you're talking hundreds of, or tens of millions. I think I could have got this wrong, but I think Conor McGregor got anywhere between 50 to 100 mil for his loss. For losing, he got that much money. So, and God knows how much Floyd Mayweather got. But the point being, how much money could he legitimately make from a fight with Logan Paul? Like, what is that going to draw as far as like pay-per-view is concerned, or streaming costs, or whatever? Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Because if you take KSI versus Logan Paul, it did very well for what it was. It got like mainstream attention. It was treated as a legitimate fight. Obviously, it was a pro boxing fight, so it was legitimate.
It's a tier A YouTuber,
yes,
versus a retired boxing all-star.
Yeah.
That in itself is a big name fight. Well, whoa, Jesus, this guy, this YouTuber is going to fight a professional boxer who's undefeated, etc.
Yeah. That's the way I look at it. Because, like, don't get me wrong, like going into this fight,
I have to watch this.
Yeah, like I would obviously want Logan Paul to win, but I just know he wouldn't. Like, that's nothing against Logan. It's just I can't fathom the idea of him beating.
It's not so much I want to see Logan beat Floyd, because that's not going to happen. It's more or less I want to see how little Floyd beats Logan. So how?
Well, I just feel like this is a win for YouTube.
How long can he? Can he maintain himself?
I think the bigger thing here is this is a win for YouTube. This is a win for YouTubers. Do you know what I mean? Like, him getting this fight, it presents so many opportunities to YouTubers moving forward about mainstream opportunities, mixing with mainstream outlets in some capacity. I mean, the same things were being said when the KSI Logan Paul 2 fight happened, that, you know, this has opened up that door. I mean, you know, it's the same with rappers, YouTube rappers. They're beginning to be taken seriously as artists now, and their music is being featured in you know, at least in the UK, it's been featured in the UK charts. I think it's the same in America as well. But the point being that YouTube is being taken more seriously as a medium, I suppose you could say, as a profession, whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah. And for that reason, there are more opportunities now out there for YouTubers, and so things like this fight are now becoming a potential thing. It's becoming something that can happen, that can be. I'm putting this very badly word wise, but you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah,
You're all right.
You know, YouTubers are getting more exposure now, being taken more seriously. And
anybody can do YouTube. It's just how you do it.
Anyone can do YouTube, but not everyone can do YouTube well.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So like kids who've just got given an iPad.
This is another element as well. Like, you're right. Anyone can make videos and put them on the internet, put them on YouTube, and claim to be a YouTuber. But YouTube is about consistently reinventing yourself. You know, following the game. This is why, for instance, I accept that I probably won't become like super successful anytime soon. Maybe I never will. And, you know, I feel a bit like dodgy about that. But at the same time, it's because I don't play the game by the rules. Like, I do it, you know, my own way, because I enjoy making content in my own manner. And I do try things from time to time, but I'm not interested in kind of doing what everyone else is doing.
Come on, son, play the game.
I'm not interested in it personally, doing it that way. You know, for me, it goes beyond YouTube as well. Like, YouTube is not my only goal in life. It's just one of them. So that's one of the reasons why.
But a piece of advice my dad gave me that I'm actually going to listen to and stand by is, you have 400, 500 subscribers? Somewhere in the middle of that?
I've got 460, 461, something like that.
Okay, so you have 460 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not, like, up here with...
Yeah.
Listen, hear me out.
Don't have to rub it in.
Hear me out. I mean, if you're here, I'm here, so...
How many do you have now? You must be doing pretty
129.
Well. Yeah, see, that's growing pretty quickly. When did you do your first vlog? Wasn't that long ago?
Do a little quick checkity check. So my point being is that you don't earn money from YouTube.
Nada.
So it's not like a job for you. So
No, but I take it seriously. Like I want it to become a living for me. You know, I
five
don't.
months. My first video was 5 months ago.
That's very good for 5 months.
So that's 100 subscribers in 5 months.
I
But back
treat
to
it
what I was
I treat
saying.
it as though I were making money from it because I feel like that's the only way you can treat anything that you want to do for a living, that you want to be successful. You have to put the same amount of time and effort into it, regardless of whether or
Correct.
not it's making you money.
But what I mean is it's not your job. You don't earn a substantial living off it.
No.
So you should consider it for now. I'm not saying this will never change, but you should consider it for now as a hobby. You
Mm.
should enjoy making videos, and if
Oh
you're
no,
not,
yeah, no, I get that. Yeah,
so
I can't
until
bring myself to consider it as like a hobby though, because for me, a hobby is like going and playing basketball.
yeah,
You
but I
know what I
mean,
mean?
like
Like
you should
I
find
want
it
to get better
fun.
at basketball, but I don't consider that like you know, if I don't get any better at basketball, it's not going to break my heart.
Yeah,
Whereas
but I mean,
YouTube, it would
if
break my
you're
heart.
if you're if you're making videos and editing videos and publishing videos and you're enjoying doing it, great, perfect.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I've said the same sentiments in recent videos. Like my attitude has changed. But you know, with that being said, you do want to grow. Like occasionally,
Of
you will
course.
hear me complain because, you know, the subs or the views stagnate. You know, they sit there. Like I think I've been on 400 subscribers now for like many months at this point. But you know, everyone is different. Everyone evolves in different time scales or whatever. Like, you know, it's funny, I have some supporters, people that have been on the show before, that have said like, oh, you should have way more support, many more subscribers. And it's
That's
interesting.
just not how it works. I'm afraid I can't just get them.
No,
I
no,
have to
no, I
be.
know, it's just interesting to hear that, because to me, I have very mixed feelings about what I do. Like when I put stuff out there, obviously I'm proud of it, I'm happy with what I produce, but sometimes I wonder, like, is this good enough?
Yeah,
Is it
me too.
trash? You know,
And it sucks.
is that the reason? Am I holding myself back? I don't know. I just,
But it's sort of I go through a couple of stages. For example, last night I noticed that I lost 2 subscribers,
mm.
which I then got back today. I'm not
Yeah,
sure if
I wouldn't
somebody
trust that
told you,
too
but
much, mate, because mine goes up and down, up
I
and down, up
don't.
and down all the
But
bloody
it's like
time.
it went from 129 to 127,
mm.
and I was like, oh, I've lost 2 subscribers. Oh, yeah. Oh well. And then I was thinking about it later on. I was like, but why? What was it?
I'm gonna say what Childish Jack always says to me, which is, if they unsubscribe to you, then they were never watching in the first place. So that's number one. Number two, this happens all the
Fake
time.
fans, fake fans.
No, but this happens all the time. Like, don't forget that people don't just subscribe willy nilly. You know what I mean? Like, you can regularly watch videos and not subscribe to the channel. Like, I think on mine, it's like 80% of the viewers are unsubscribed, right?
Yeah, I have 60 that
Right.
68.
So there's that, and there's also the fact that, like, you know, if people are subscribed to you, think about what that means. It means they want to follow you. It means they want to be part of your community. It's like they want to regularly see you. They, you know, they like you as a person. And I think that, like, it's a big thing, you know. And if people unsubscribe, to me, it's like, okay, fine. You know, like I don't take it badly anymore. Like I know that
Well,
feeling. I know
have
where you're
fun.
coming
See you
from.
later.
Yeah, but like you can't take it seriously. I mean, there's going to be a day when you're going to have, like, you know, potentially tens of thousands or millions of subscribers, and you might lose like a couple of hundred in a day. It's like part of YouTube in that sense. But as long as you have like that core audience of people that are there, like for me, the confusing thing about my subscriber count is not so, like, I don't even really particularly care about how many there are. I'm more concerned with the fact that there are like 460, right? But then average viewer count on my videos is like, I don't know, ranging between 20 to 40 views, right? Average ish, right? Sometimes videos get nothing. And that to me is the more confusing part. It's like, okay, I've got this audience, but
But
like,
where are they? Where are they
but
at?
yeah, what are they doing? Why are they not watching? And it's
I
fair
have
enough. Like, it's
Yeah,
you
so like
can't.
you have 460 subscribers, but one video gets 60 views.
Mm.
Where's the other 400?
Yeah, and
Hello?
this is why I pay attention more to comments now, than anything else. Like um, I look forward to comments. If I receive comments, I make sure to reply to them as much as possible. I try to
Also, there was something that's been statistically proven.
go on.
Hearting comments is most likely to attract because like, ow, if someone's using their Gmail account on their YouTube, which they probably are.
Mm.
If they have like the Gmail app on their phone, if you heart my comment, I am most likely to come back because I've seen. I don't know why. It's like 70% of creators that heart comments get those people back to either leave another comment or watch another video or something like that.
Where are you getting that stat from? 75%.
I will tell you. Um, it will be somewhere. I will find where I got it from
Fair enough.
because yeah, YouTube created a heart tutorial.
Oh, it's actually from YouTube itself. Okay. I don't think I've ever watched
Uh,
any of those YouTuber creator videos. Hmm.
I'm not sure what exact website it was from, but I was watching like better like small tips
Yeah.
to do better, like YouTube branding and things like that, and
Mm.
heart and comments. I think I've talked about this before. I'm not sure, but heart and comments and using YouTube branding. So if you watch one of my videos, you'll see in the bottom right it says a little subscribe button, and if you tap on that on your phone or hover over it on your
Yeah,
computer,
yeah.
it'll.
I did that recently. I think on your suggestion, actually. I know what you
I
mean.
have talked about this before, but it's just small things like that that
Mm.
people are like, this is really well put together. I want to see more of this.
Mm.
And if they subscribe, subscribe.
I think for me, I'm not even only attached to YouTube. Like, I'm kind of just looking to build a following in general. Because, like, for instance, I want to go back to streaming at some point and doing that again because I enjoyed it. But that you need a legitimate following to do.
I mean, because eventually, if you put it in like the IRL section, you might get one or two viewers, but what you really need is like friends and actual following to come in and
yeah, that's what I'm
share
more
it. And
interested in having, actually, even on YouTube. Like, I don't even
this is
really.
why I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting too. I really want to have that community, like that, building that community anywhere, any platform, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. Like, I like this idea of having a community. I think that is something to grow and build on. And like, that's where people build, you know, potentially bigger followings from, is from those small communities. And, obviously I have big goals for things like YouTube and stuff, but like, it's not my only thing that I want to do. Obviously I want to do music, acting, all sorts of things, right, that I'm working on. But I feel like building a community in general is, it takes time. And I don't know, for me, in my channel, I've been doing it properly now, since sort of beginning of last year, and it's still, I would say, still in beginning stages. You know what I mean? Despite everything, I've done loads of stuff, especially in lockdown, but
There
haven't
was there
really.
was the little acting sketch that we did.
Yeah,
I got swept under the rug.
no, I will work on that at some point. I just have so many things that I'm doing right now, like so many things.
for
It's
for
like
those
it's
of you who
literally, I
don't
have
know
a
what we're
to-do
talking
list.
about,
I have a to-do list of all these things to do, and I will do it. It's just that sketch might get done months from now, potentially,
yeah.
but it will get
Those of
done.
you who don't know what we're talking about, me and Christian had the idea shortly after lockdown properly begun.
Mm.
We decided we wanted to do an acting sketch together, and since we don't live anywhere near each other, and we didn't even before I moved to the Netherlands, we decided to do a clever sort of sketch in a place that looked similar, so we could sort of just push it backwards and forwards so it would work.
Yep.
But I fell ill. Christian sent me the clips, and like 3 months later, or 2 or 3 months later, when I was well and I moved and I was near somewhere like that looked similar,
Yep.
then I did it, and then I sent it to Christian, and he was just like, okay. But the problem is,
no. Let me clear up. You sent it to me, and the order was
Google
fucked.
Google Drive decided it wanted to upload the smaller clips first. So that might have been the fourth clip, then the second clip, then the third clip, then the first clip. So he has no idea, and now I don't, because it's more than 2 days ago, so I forgot.
That's fine.
So
it's got a name. This the sketch is going to be called The Chase.
dun dun dun.
It will get done, but it's just like I said. I've got literally a massive to-do list of things I need to do, not just on YouTube, but on Facebook, on other platforms, upcoming podcast ideas, a bunch of stuff, plus also freelancing stuff for marketing that I have to do. So I'm actually very, very busy right now, which is a great position to be in. I'm not complaining, by the way. I'd much rather be busy than like not busy. But it will get done. I'm that type of person. I will write everything down and slowly go through all of the things. Like here, I'll read you some of the things I've got to do, right? So I have to upload my Storytime series to Facebook. That's one thing I've got to do. Any remaining videos that I feel should go on to Facebook that aren't otherwise on there. So it just takes time uploading on there and building that up, right? But I'm essentially treating it as like another platform to have YouTube stuff, but I'm only putting like special videos on there. So like music, podcast, the vlog series. I felt like Storytime deserves to be on there as well. But like what will make YouTube exclusive is that I won't do like random vlogs that I do on the second channel, or random videos on the main channel won't go on my Facebook. So there's like some exclusivity there. When I do, little mini covers on Instagram, that stays on Instagram, and there is a little bit of crossover with Facebook as well, but none of that goes on YouTube. So like
full covers.
Sometimes more like I do like little short things on Instagram, and then full covers now I'm doing on YouTube. I've started doing.
So
Yeah.
I remember I used to do some videos with this. Oh my god, this kid's name on YouTube was Bin Boy.
Right.
That sounds about right for Newcastle, to be honest.
Do you know, funnily enough, just on the side note, I remember when I was at school, there was this like, I don't know if you could call it a trend or a craze. This was like the mid 2000s, right? But basically all of the chav kids had, not necessarily chavs, but like some of them were chavs, some of them were just chavvy, but not necessarily actual chavs. But they had like nicknames, right? And I'm not going to take the piss too much, because in our alternative crowd, we had nicknames as well. We had this trend called Scene Kids, right? And everyone had like these weird names. Like mine was Christian Chaos. So like you'd have like there was this website called MySpace, and you would have which is still around amazingly, but no one uses it anyway. You'd have like your names on there, flashy profile, whatever, and you would meet in your respective towns and like
sort of like buddy info or something.
Kinda. I don't even. I
Yeah,
can't. It's difficult to explain. I've done a video on it. If you look at MySpace and Seeing Kids on my channel, then I talk about it for like 40 minutes straight. So just go check that out, and you'll learn about it.
But don't. No, not yet. Listen to the rest of this first. Don't.
Oh, I was talking more to you
anyway.
actually, specifically. Like, but yeah.
Bye, Chris. Have fun on your own.
Yeah, but like so we did it as well, but the chavs did it. But they had like very confusing names. So like it'd be like Link, or not like cool like the video game character, but like cool like, I don't know, Link. What was other names that they have? Phase, Fade. it related to the tags that they would do, because they would do like graffiti tags as well. I remember that they would have like the graffiti pens or actual spray cans, and they would like tag their name, but it was like that shitty graffiti where it's not even pretty, it's just like a scribble. And like if they had like a maths book, they'd scribble their fucking name all over that and shit. But I remember there was this one kid. I won't say his name because he's an actual sweetheart, and he was a sweetheart at school. But if you are watching, yeah. But he, for whatever reason, he called himself Bins. B-I-N-Z. Bins.
Bins.
And to this day, I still don't understand his choice.
Well, I mean, if he recycles, then that's good at least.
I don't think he chose the name for recycling purposes.
I mean,
why you call Bins, bruv? And he's like, well, I'm just, really
recycling for the environment, innit?
Yeah, concerned about the environment, innit? What? You what, mate?
You bloody tree hugger. you tree hugger.
You. It sounds Australian. You tree hugger. What's wrong with you, mate?
Get away. Can't be arsed with you. No, anyway, so there was this kid called Bin Boy, and what he used to do was he used to take tiny... Chris, you okay? You good?
I'm just laughing. Bin Boy. What's your name? Bin Boy.
Nah, his real name was Alfie. And
Alfie the Bin Boy.
The problem was when I looked him up on YouTube and I typed in Bin Boy, I would get a different channel that was dedicated to this person who, like, I guess, vlogged his life as a bin man.
Cool. That's kind of interesting, weirdly enough.
Actually, contrary to popular belief, bin man is an actually good job. They get good pay.
Yeah, they get decent money. Like, and they get quite well protected as well. They get given specialist equipment, gloves and stuff.
Like loads of people don't like the idea of like emptying bins into the back of a truck, but that's nothing for the amount that they get paid.
Yeah, as far as like how much money they get paid and how cushy their job is, a lot of the time. No, I'm being serious.
Cushy.
I know actual. Yeah, what's wrong with that? What? I grew up in England.
Only for 90s boy.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm an English boy, mate. Yeah. So are you. Again. So are you. Anyway, yeah. No, growing up, I knew people that were bin men, and they would talk about their jobs, and it's kind of amazing. Like, yeah, the money thing is a big part of it. They get paid way more than you'd think, and also their hours. They get up really early in the morning, like typically, like maybe like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I see them. I see them around when I was walking to school. It was,
and that's the thing. They'll do a
10 past 7
route.
Or something.
Yeah, they'll do a particular route in the morning for like a couple of hours, and then that's it. Probably the rest of the day off. And this is the thing about bin men as well. So when they take all the stuff to like skip yards and stuff, they often salvage equipment. Like just stuff that people throw away that is actually fine. Like people throw away a lot of stuff that is not actually broken or damaged in any way.
They just got a new one, so they threw out the old one.
Yeah, like people, a lot of the time they'll throw shit away because they don't want to have to pay like the council to remove it. So this is really cheeky. This is like people taking the piss, but like what are your alternatives? Like you have it on your front lawn, just sitting there and like
yeah, but I mean, even then the rag and bone men come and take it away. So
yeah, but I understand it. I get it. But like basically, these are the perks of being a bin man. I think my uncle was a bin man at one point. I don't know if he still is. He might possibly be. I can't remember. Sorry, but yeah. I can't remember this shit. I've got enough shit going on in my own life. I can't remember everyone else's lives. But no,
let's hope he doesn't figure out how to use YouTube.
No, I do remember him talking about his job at one point, and he told me about some of this stuff, and he would bring back stuff occasionally, and it was good shit. And my stepdad was briefly involved in something similar at one point. He wasn't a bin man. I think he was involved with some sort of van job at one point. So he would occasionally bring things back, and he was pretty nifty at fixing things. So he would, if it was broken a little bit, he would fix.
Was your dad a rag and bone man then? Like
what's a rag and bone man?
Well, it said like, for example, we got a new washing machine. So my stepdad put the old one out the front, and these people drove up in a white van, They opened the van, they took the washing machine, chucked it inside, and drove off. I mean, it's fine. We don't need it because it's old.
Mm.
But I guess they just sort of either salvage old stuff and then fix it, or they just sort of remove. They're sort of like you can pay the
Salvages.
government. You can pay the government or the council to come and remove your old items,
Yeah, that's kind of
or
what I was talking about
you
before.
can
It
call Rag and
costs.
Bone Men who can do it like free because they want it.
Oh, no, I haven't heard about that. That's interesting.
Again, I'm going to look up this term
Rag and
because
bone men.
Rag and Bone
My
Men.
my dad wasn't. My dad's a barber by trade. My stepdad has just been involved with a range of different things. But at one point, he had some sort of a job. He wasn't a bin man or a rag and bone man, whatever the fuck that is.
A rag picker, or rag man,
Rag
or old
picker.
clothesman, or junkman, or junk dealer.
Mm.
Bone grubber, bone picker, rag gatherer, bag board, totter.
These just sound like dodgy like names. Like if you're gonna
Like
insult
like
someone,
old English rhymes.
it's like shut up, you rag muncher. No.
Oi, bugger off, you totter.
Rug.
Okay, in the 19th century, rag and bone men typically lived in extreme poverty, surviving on the proceeds of what they collected each day. Conditions improved following the Second World War, but the trade declined during the latter half of the 20th century. However, in more recent years, partly as the result of the soaring price of scrap metal, rag and bone men may once again be seen at work in the many third world as well as first world countries. So I guess they come along in vans or something like that. They'll take old scrap metal or like washer machines or old dishwashers or things like that. They'll take them and scavenge them.
I've heard of people doing this where they scavenge for metals and sell the metals, like get the metals crushed and stuff. And you can actually make quite a lot of money from doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, but this old Volkswagen Combo just drove into the street, parked onto our driveway, chucked the washing machine in the back of the van, and just skidded off.
Mm.
And I was like, ma'am, I think someone's just stole our old washing machine.
Yeah, it's funny.
It'll be the rag and bone man. I went, what?
It's funny like how many of those types of like similar types of jobs where it's like physical labor or something that where people earn so much money. Like I only recently learned in the last couple of years that if you work in like construction or scaffolding, like one of my uncles works in scaffolding. I think he's either training to be a scaffolder or he like I can't remember exactly, but he's worked on property.
He puts scaffolding on the side of buildings. Or he does more.
I think no, it's more than that. He actually works on projects like builds.
So he sort of does both as well.
Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I know that A, it's very expensive and takes a long time to become a scaffolder. B, if you do become a scaffolder, it basically like triples your income. And C, just working in construction or scaffolding or any of those types of jobs, they earn like ridiculous money, like thousands in a week.
So does an architect.
Well, that's even more. That's like
they earn insane amounts of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
But
they're
just
responsible.
think about this though, dude.
They're
Think
paid
about
by
it.
the government to build shit.
You're working on construction. Now you're building a house and you're earning like thousands a week. Think about that. That's mad.
Insane.
That's mad. Like there and like your hours will be nothing. Like yeah, you'll have days where you work like your ass off, like it's crazy. But you'll have days where you work probably like 4 hours as well. Nothing. Get the rest of the day off.
But the thing is sometimes you make your own hours.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I stay here for an extra couple of hours, then I can sort of take a couple of hours off tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean that's the benefits of
as long as
freelancing
you
well.
have it built by the deadline, which is probably 5-6 years from now, you should be all right. And then you get paid for your hours, and then you might get a little bit of a bonus when you're finished.
Yeah, my uncle was telling me about this, how it works, like contract by contract, and obviously the longer the contract, the better. But like, you get billed for a certain contract time, and it can range anywhere from 6 months to 3 years, and that's how you live your life, going by contract to contract. But the contracts pay very, very well, and there's like a certain amount of security, like the longer the contract goes. Like, I remember when I was at uni, there was a massive project, I believe, for the building of the library, the new library that was at my uni. It was kind of shitty because it started in the second year, and it was just a big, massive monstrosity in the middle of the campus. It was ugly as fuck, and it got finished as we graduated, like typical. But we did
I
check it
want
out.
books and I want them now.
It is fine. Like, if anything, I preferred the old library that we had to the new one. Wasn't a big fan
Yeah,
of
I
it.
don't get that. It's like there's a new leisure center in my hometown.
Yeah.
It's next to this like in the center of Washington, the town that I lived in. There was a large shopping center called the Galleries.
Mm.
You might have heard of it because
Nope.
Princess Anne opened it. Princess Anne, cut the ribbon, and there's a park next to it called Princess Anne Park. So, but there used to be a leisure center attached to it, which they demolished. They built a large bridge to the sort of, I think it's the west of the Asda, and they built a new leisure center. It's like everyone active, I think it was. Everyone active fitness. But don't get me wrong, it looks nice. But I saw a photo on Facebook of the old one, and it was just nostalgic because because I walk home from the galleries through Princess Anne Park.
Mm.
So if I was at Asda and I wanted to go home, you'd have to go through this sort of small indoor area, which leads to the swimming pool of the old uh, leisure centre. And I think there was a doctor's on the other side. I'm not too sure, or a dentist. It's a weird place to put a dentist, right? Opposite a swimming pool.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what
I'll get a fill in after I go for a swim. Oh, that's great.
I'm going to get a filling and go for a swim, boss.
Oh
No.
no, I lost my filling in the swimming pool. Shit.
Oh, bugger it. We can just go back. Free healthcare. Watcher. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but you could sort of see into the swimming pool from where you were.
Hmm.
So you could walk past and you could sort of see everybody swimming and having a good time, and then you got out the other side, you went down the stairs and you went through the park. But just don't fix what isn't broken.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it does depend. I mean, I know that
Refurbishment is fine, but to completely demolish one thing and build another.
like the thing that I didn't understand at my uni, right, was because they didn't actually demolish anything. They demolished a few buildings, but it was like nothing particularly special. Yeah, the only thing that was special was that the original architect, because there's a building called the Founders Building. My university was Royal Holloway University, and it was built in like the 1800s, late 1800s. And it's a very impressive building. It's incredible. And that sits in the heart of the campus. And then everything is built around it. So it's like, it's got that rich heritage. And then there's all these new buildings and blah, 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 right? And it's a nice campus, nice uni. I liked it. But like this new new library is directly across from the old building. So you've got this really beautiful 18th century building, and then you've got this new kind of monstrosity. And it's okay. You know, it is what it is. I think they did a decent job of like the forecourt that's there between the two buildings. And I guess there's kind of a old meets new vibe kind of thing, right? But they did knock down one building that was I believe the original house that the architect of the original building lived in. So they kind of destroyed a bit of history. But I guess it's not like the end of the world. But still, would have been nice to have kept that, I suppose. But the new library as it stands is okay. But this is the thing I wanted to bring up, is that the building that they had as the library that we used the whole time, which is in a different part of the campus, they closed down after we left. And nothing was really said about what they would do with it. But they basically said that they were going to close that library, and they were also going to close the library that was in the Founders Building, which was kind of an alluring thing. Like parts of Harry Potter have been filmed in that Founders Building. Very briefly, there was a scene from the Avengers that was featured. Like many films, TV series have been featured there and stuff, right? And if you actually go into that building, I mean, there's like a beautiful chapel. There's like, it's obviously a very old building, so it's very nice to be in certain places and stuff. And obviously, like studying in the library was a nice experience. Like I did it myself. It was really nice. So when I found out that that was being closed and going to be turned into like probably like staff quarters or something, I was like, that sucks. Because that's one of the laws of like attracting people to actually go to that uni is like, you get to not just study in the new facilities, but the old facilities, experience a bit of history, potentially live in this building because you can live in that building for a year in the halls, right? And I got to live there too. It was actually very nice.
Were the rooms very nice and rustic and sort of vintage?
No, they were redone with a like horrible kind of 60s vibe, but there's still the history there. You can
That
still
doesn't
feel it.
work.
Well, it is what it is. It's not. It like there was nice parts of it, not so nice parts of it. But mostly it was a nice experience, and they've done fairly well to keep it, maintained and stuff. And the history is there in certain parts of that building. It's really lovely. And I imagine will continue to be. I mean, it's one of the biggest draws of that particular university. I feel like if you didn't have that building there, maybe it wouldn't be as good a uni. I don't know, but that's up for debate. But yeah, no. Anyway, back to that building. So this old library plus the newer library that they had that they closed down. I just didn't understand it. I was like, why close down facilities? Because I had a friend who did a master's a year after I left. Like he continued and stayed there for a year or so. And when I asked him, like, oh, was this new library better? Do you have more space? He was like, no. Like, if anything, there's like less space. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you think you want to create more study spaces for people, not remove study spaces.
Yeah.
And this building was like 4 or 5 stories. So there was one underground level, 4 stories, different purposes, different study rooms, all this stuff. Like, it was actually good as far as facilities are concerned. But, yeah, just... I just didn't understand why they closed those other buildings, and they're perfectly serviceable, useful, 24-hour card access, all this useful stuff. Like when you're at uni, this stuff is useful. You need study spaces, and you'll often alternate between the spaces depending on how you feel and what you need to do, like what facilities you need, and so forth. So yeah, I don't know, I don't get it. I guess it's all just kind of about pushing up the numbers and stuff. But the thing about uni is that there's this big difference between the overall ranking that your uni gets and then the rankings that it gets per subject. So for example, my course was management with marketing, and originally, like when I was at uni, our course was like in the top 10 for marketing and maybe like top 20 for management in the country. Whereas like last time I checked, it was like 30 or 40th for marketing, and like I don't even know where for management and the overall rankings. But they change all the time, and they're like subjective as well. So like you check one newspaper, it will say one thing, check another website, it'll say something different. I think your best bet is to kind of just look at the rankings for your course specifically, and then definitely make use of the open days. Definitely go visit, check out your department. Don't worry so much about everything else that's going on. Just focus on your department and what they're offering, because this is 3 years of your life. So it's very important that you want to be there for 3 years, and they've actually got the facilities you need and, good resources,
Well, that's the thing for me is there is one school in Vals, and it is not anything. It's a young kids school.
Okay.
So if I want to go to university or college, it will most likely be in one of the bigger cities that are like half an hour, 20 minutes away. So I'll have to drive there, and I have to make sure that the route is not like annoying. So I'll have to test drive the road. So like, is there loads of traffic on a morning when I need to go? Do I need to leave earlier? Do I need to maybe try and find a different route? Things like that. Is there a gas station on the way there and back?
No.
Is there a coffee shop on the way there?
Yeah, no, these are important considerations. I agree. I mean, I think any time that you do anything in life, like be it get a new job, finding a place to live in general. Like you need to look at like all of the amenities around the place that you live. Like if you take where I live right now, you know, I've got a major supermarket, maybe 5 or 10 minutes in this direction. I've got a corner shop that I can go to across the street. I've got a local park that I can exercise in. I've got a big, massive, like foresty nature reserve area that's close by. So it's got a bit of everything. Plus it's close to the city. I can walk to the city. So there's all these different factors that make it a kind of an ideal place to be.
My only peeve about going to school in Maastricht is the fact that it's like a long way away.
Mm.
Hello, Dad. Hello. My dad's special guest on this one. Yeah, it's a long, like I've said this before, it's a long way away. And if you're late, you are very late. So if
okay, so like you what, like you get a bus, you're 15 minutes late, so that like the bus is running 15 minutes late, so like instead of being,
if the bus is running 50 minutes late, I'm probably going to be at school half an hour, 45 minutes later than I should be.
Is that because of like traffic or something, or just?
It could be traffic, yeah. It's half an hour away, so if you add that 15 minutes of being late, then that's it.
What are they like for being late? Are they really bad for it, or?
If you're late 3 times, you have to... I don't remember. Dad?
Yeah.
Do you know if you're late 3 times for school?
Yeah.
What happens?
They'll have to report it to the education authority.
Oh yeah, they report you to the education authority and you have to pay a fine.
Whoa! Okay. How much? What we talking about fines?
I think it's like €600.
How much?
A good reason.
Sorry?
That's if it's without good reason.
If it's without good reason, like if you're sick and you haven't told them, then yeah.
Okay.
But it's like €600.
But this is one of those tricky ones, though, isn't it? Because like it could legitimately be that you're just like, you know, relying on public transport and you keep being.
Well, then you need to notify them. It's like if you're late 3 times without notifying them. I mean, like, so if I'm sick, I can't say that I'm sick. My dad has to call up and say that I'm sick.
Yeah.
It's not like a sort of thing where it's my responsibility. I mean, it kind of is in the sense that I need to make sure that I get my ass to school on time.
Yeah.
But if I'm late or not going to school for any reason, I have to make sure that both my parents and the school know.
Yeah. Damn. That's a lot of money for being late. €600. Jesus.
I'm pretty sure in England, if you aren't showing up at school, they'll like. I know my school. They used to come to your house and make sure you got your ass up and got in the car and went to school.
From what I remember, I mean, it never happened to me, but you would get suspended. Like, well, no, I got suspended for bunking off school. I remember that. But like, as it was explained to me, eventually, you get suspended or you could get expelled. But then there's a point where like your parents could be like prosecuted if you didn't go to school.
Yeah, because you're required by law to make sure that your kid goes to school and gets an education. And you can be held accountable if they decide to just flunk it. So that's why parents are so strict about going to school. I mean, it's a bit different, like, if you're sick, because you can just call up and say, look, Christian's sick today, he can't come in, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm going to work and leaving you with the responsibility of getting up, getting dressed, and going to school, and if you're not doing that, I'm going to kick your ass, boy.
Yeah.
Because you could get me sent to prison.
I think, school does have an agenda, and it is kind of designed as a indoctrination type thing, but like that's not to say that all of it isn't useful. School could be improved in many different ways, and it doesn't fully prepare you for adult life in any shape or form. But there are things there that are important, like learning to read, learning to do arithmetic, a basic understanding of various parts of life, society. Just maths, doing maths and stuff.
Right, okay.
And then I think
that's called rekenen over here.
Rekenen.
Rekenen. R-E-K-E-N-E-N. Rekenen. It's calculating.
Yeah.
So a calculator is a rekenmachine.
Rekenmachine.
Baker Machine. Sorry.
Sveka Machina. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
there you go.
Cool. Yeah, no,
But
I get that. I get that. I think that given that you like it's a legal requirement, you have to do it. I think that there should be more ability on part of the students and the parents to be able to kind of like invoke change and actually affect on like what their children are taught. Like I know, for instance, if I ever have kids, I'm going to work my ass off to make sure they get to go to like private school or something, like get the very best education possible.
well, like PTA meetings, like the classic American thing where the parents and teachers meet up and see what needs to change and things like that.
Maybe. I think I would be interested in having some sort of influence because I would only like I don't want to be too involved, but like I would kind of want my children to at least learn like stuff that's useful. Do you know? Like I feel like whatever you choose to do with your life past the age of like 16, 18, past college or whatever, like that's fine. That's up to you. Like I wouldn't force anything on my kids. For instance, like I wouldn't expect them to go to university or something like, but I would expect them to kind of at least get that education, just get that the bare minimum, get like what you need. And then you kind of decide what you want to do with your life from that point onwards. Right. That's seems fair to me. But given that like they're kind of forced to do this thing, I think that like you should have some involvement in what you're taught. Cause it's a lot of time every week for many years. There's no wonder, like I remember being at school, most of it was boring and pointless. And I would still maintain that even today. Like, yeah, could I have tried harder? Could I worked harder? Could I have been more involved? Absolutely. But could have the teaching have been 100% better? Absolutely. Is there a ton of stuff that could have been removed and replaced with something more useful? Absolutely. I mean, for example, tax classes or, I don't know, home living classes. Do you know what I mean? Like, how to live, how to take care of yourself, like just all this basic stuff that, okay, yeah, you can argue your parents should be responsible for, but like not everyone.
There is sort of those classes now. It's called like tutorial. It's like an hour a week where you get taught like about life and things
There
like
isn't
that.
enough about that though. Do you know what I mean?
There
There needs to
isn't.
be more of a focus on that. Like I remember I had fucking food tech, but like it wasn't proper cooking. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, we'll teach you how to
Making like
make
pastries and stuff.
yeah,
and
like oh, like this is how you make stone cakes, or whatever the fuck it was. It's like, why don't you teach me how to do like pasta bake or like I don't know, something useful that I'm actually going to eat.
teach me how to make a healthy meal that I can make
Yeah.
when I need to eat goddamn food.
Yeah, why
Tell
not?
me how to make a mealtime salad. Tell me how to make.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I'm serious.
Teach
Why
me
not?
how to chop vegetables. Don't tell me how to make cookies, because I'll just sit and make cookies all day.
Precisely. Exactly.
Healthy eating.
Healthy
2020.
eating, guys. 2020.
Healthy eating, 2020.
What's it that guy says that there's that YouTuber, Health is Wealth in 2020 or whatever the fuck it is.
Health as well.
He's a great YouTuber. He's a guy who does like music reviews.
Big work smart.
Laid back something, FDR, something like that. He's like,
Think
it's
big,
your boy,
think big,
it's
work
your boy
smart.
laid back. It's your boy laid back. And he's like, oh, is it? He says this thing where he's like, something squad, what's popping? It's like, hard squad, what's popping? I love it. I love that guy. He's brilliant because he's got a really open mind to music as well. Like me, like he's more into like, your hip hop and all that sort of stuff, like rap and trap and stuff. But like people will send him like rock, country, whatever, and he'll sit down, legitimately listen to it and enjoy it and like critique it and give his own opinion.
Strike. No.
I do wonder about that if he actually gets.
He must have bought the rights to a lot of songs then.
No, I mean he's listening to like everything from like System of a Down to like 6ix9ine, KSI songs, American rap. I do wonder about these YouTubers, how they make money, because they must get copyright strike for everything.
Yeah, I got a copyright strike on the Siege video that I uploaded, but
oh, really?
it was only partial, so it wasn't allowed in Denmark. That's
you know what's really funny? I've been getting a lot of copyright strikes for music recently, which is to be expected. But what I've noticed is if it sounds like really, really similar to the original,
it must sound good.
Yeah, right. But this is a really interesting one. So I did a a couple of Queens of the Stone Age covers, right? But I did one particular one where I had the music in the background for the instrumental, and then I was singing on like more or less identical to the original one, and it got blocked in every single country. They've removed it since then, and now it's just got a typical copyright claim, and I'm disputing it. But that to me was like almost like a mini compliment. It was like, it sounded so good that we actually thought it was you uploading the original song. And I'm like, get it.
You have confusion in your brain.
I do think it would be nice if they wouldn't copy, because I have videos where I've disputed it and they still claim money and I can't get any money from it. And like, okay, yeah, I don't earn money from it anyway, and you know, it's not the end of the world, but still it's a bit annoying because they are just covers. Do you know what I mean? I do put the artist's name there. It's not like I say this is my song. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like
it literally says Queens of the Stone Age cover.
Well, no, I'm talking about an older song. I did like a City in Colour cover like 3 or 4 years ago or something, and I disputed it, and they've still got the claim there. And I was like, okay, fine, yeah, it is your song, but it's like, is this really necessary? It's just a cover. How many millions of covers are there online of this song? Like, really?
Do you sit there and claim every single one of them?
I think they do. Well, that's the thing, because what's happened there is it's an automatic claim. You dispute it, someone manually looks at it and rejects it, but no reason is needed to be given. So it just, whatever. That's it.
But I mean, I don't get it. Like,
Neither do I.
Like, if you use somebody's song in your video, that's a compliment to the person whose song that is, because you're using their song for a good reason. The only thing they should claim is like if people are claiming that they wrote the song but they didn't.
I agree with you. I do think it's unfair. Like if you do like a vlog and you put like just random song in it and it gets claimed, like the whole video gets claimed because you use that song for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it's like, really? Like, really? I mean, because if you look at this,
I had to mute a segment of the video where I pranked my dad. I had to mute an entire segment because it was playing friggin' Harry Styles' Watermelon Sugar.
Oh, in the background.
I kept turning it up, and he hates the song, so I kept turning it up, and he kept turning it down, and I turned it up, and then he switched it off, and he took the stereo out of the car, and he said, "I hate that song, you know that." But
that's a classic car as well, that where you can pull the radio out. I love those cars.
You just pop the radio out.
Yeah, good times.
But yeah, it's irritating. It's irritating.
It is. It is what it is. All right.
It is what it is.
Drawing it all to a close, because how long have we been talking now? It's been a while. It's been an hour and 38 minutes. Wowza. Damn.
Whoops.
I actually, I did. It's like the last time we had the podcast. I did wonder, like, is this going to be difficult? Is it going to be worrying? Do I need to come in super prepared? And suddenly we've managed to talk for nearly 2 hours again. About all sorts.
You asked me and you said, is there anything else that you really want to talk about? And I said, well, not particularly, but it turns out we didn't need to.
Well, the plan for me is always come in with some initial points, some stuff, and then anything else is a bonus, and you can kind of just expand on that and see what happens. And
yeah,
I don't even think we came in with that. I wrote down 2 questions. I've only asked you one of them, and it wasn't even a particularly complex question. It was just, what have you been up to?
Yeah, you said,
what have you been up to? Yeah. That's led to an hour and 40 minutes of what have you been up to?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I must have been up to a lot then.
And check this out. We've spoken about Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, the life of bin men and rag and bone men, university, paid advertising on social media. This is just some of the stuff we've spoken about.
Yeah, but we'll have to save whatever's left for the next video, next podcast, the next. Whatever this is.
Indeedy. I actually had an idea. If the conversation went dead, I was going to do a would you rather and ask you questions. Yeah, and we can do this for a future episode or a future segment. But it's just interesting to me that I came into that prepared, like, oh, if the conversation goes dead, I've got this as like a backup, and yet that just wasn't necessary at all
No,
in the slightest.
no. We're just good at talking for
we're
hours
just
on end.
we're just so damn good.
Yeah, good at our good at that.
No, I think this is good though. Like I said at the beginning, I'm going to be rotating with a mixture of these things, and because my idea is like if you're not always available, I will have podcasts where I just podcast ideas where I only talk about something at length, like I do with my own vlogs and stuff, plus the interviews. And I just think it gives a good dynamic. Because I mean, this is still very much a developing podcast, but the more content there is, the more varied content there is, I guess the more interesting it is, or could be,
Yeah.
or can be, maybe. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I'm still working it all out, but
It'll take time, but it'll get there.
yeah. I mean,
That's
like,
the good thing about projects.
the views, so I mean, they could be higher, but like they do seem to be regular. There is like a regular audience, and that's something. That means that people actively listen to the podcast, enjoy it, and that is my
I listened
goal.
to it in school on Friday.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got bored of listening to music, so I put
Listen
on the
to
ninth
yourself,
episode.
did you?
No, you and me having a conversation. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so you listen to yourself. He just vain.
Shut up.
No, it's good sometimes. I do the same sometimes. Just listen back. I mainly do it to kind of understand, to reflect, see how things have changed, see what my style was like, see if things need to be tweaked or.
What I noticed is I laughed at the exact same sort of times as in the actual podcast. So things that made me laugh the first time made me laugh exactly the same time.
I said this to one of my guests recently that I think it's good stead if you can, because sometimes I'll leave one of my things on in the background while I'm doing work, right? Not like I'm not actually listening, but I'm like maybe I'm just editing or something, like the same video or the same podcast or whatever. Just to hear how it sounds, but then I'll leave it on because I'll be like, oh, it's actually kind of interesting, and I'm like, that's weird. That like
I'm finding my own work interesting. What's going on?
yeah, but it normally is because of the other person. It's not because of me speaking, so I don't need to hear myself speak. But I think that stands in good stead that it can be on in the background and it's easy to listen to. I think that's kind of a key with a podcast, is that it's easy to listen to.
Listening to podcasts is good when you're trying to either go to sleep or do work, which is weird because one is keeping you awake and the other one is trying to help you go to sleep. But you can't listen to a podcast if it's asleep. If you're asleep,
I can only listen to things like podcasts when I'm doing like light work where I don't need to concentrate too much. Because if I need to concentrate, I can't listen to anything, weirdly. But I find it's like, for instance, I used to work in this pub, the back of a pub, and I was just doing like dishwashing and stuff. It was a tiny kitchen. It was just me and the chefs, right? And the main chef, the head chef, had like podcasts going on in the background. Not just podcasts. He did like audio books as well, and he would just have them on. And like sometimes we'd listen to music, but a lot of the time he would just have the audio book, and I'd just like lose myself in the story while I'm endlessly, mind-numbingly washing plates. And it was weird, there'd be like stories of like dragons and people in caverns and shit, and I'm washing plates for like 3 hours, and that was weirdly enjoyable, soothing in a way.
All right. Well, I hope the people found this podcast soothing.
Yeah.
Are you soothed?
Are you suitably soothed? That's the main question. Are you soothed?
No, I'm creeped out.
Creeped
Please
out,
stop.
yeah, naturally. Yeah. No, I hope everyone is enjoying the podcasts as much as obviously we're enjoying doing it. This has been the first time having Dutch Deals as a co-host, and this will be a regular fixture, like I mentioned in the beginning. I can't always guarantee when Dutch Deals will be on it because he's busy with his channel and his projects, but it's going to be a regular thing, whenever
I'll try
free.
and appear as much as I can.
I think it's good. I mean, we seem to have like a nice comfortable chemistry with each other, able to have conversations. And that's kind of the key. Like it's not just yourself. Like obviously if I can have anyone else on the show as like, and I have had people come back and stuff, but I feel with this we can kind of talk about anything and it will be enjoyable. You know, we'll have fun. We'll talk. We'll hopefully have people send in ideas for things we can talk about or questions or whatever, and see where this goes. You know, maybe we'll have other co-hosts join us in the future. Maybe not. You know, we'll see what happens. See where this journey takes us. And that to me is the really enjoyable part of it. You know, I hadn't even considered in the beginning that I would even get past 5 episodes, let alone 31 now. So
this is the 31st.
31st episode. Good Lord.
I am back to back. Actually, I've just noticed.
You are. Yeah, fuck yeah. And you hold the title for the most appearances, which I imagine
This is number 4.
Number 4. Wow.
And it will only just increase because co-hosts tend to appear.
Well, I've got a lot of ideas for things we can do in the future. Like obviously, would you rather's, future Ask Christian segments, and whatever else. I'm sure if there's anything big. Any big trending topics, we can cover them in great detail and
yes,
see
absolutely.
What's what. But yeah, anyway, thanks to everyone for listening to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. Is there anything you want to say, Dutch Dill, to our legions of fans?
Have a great day and drink plenty of water and make sure you're nice and comfy and don't get sick. Download your country's Corona app and make sure that you stay informed of where you've been, who you've been in contact with, and try not to die. It's not good for you.
Yeah, no.
It's not good for you.
Try not to die. Some final thoughts there.
Yeah, dying isn't good for you. Don't do it.
No shit. That's a soundbite. Dying isn't good for you. Really? Wow. Learn something.
It's not good for your health.
Death is kind of where your health ends. I mean, there's no health after that. That's it.
Your health reaches 0.
Yes.
It's the opposite of health. Anyway, yeah, that's all I really wanted to say.
Thanks for that.
Don't get sick.
All right, yeah. Everyone stay safe, stay well. Thank you for listening to the Christian Reeve podcast. And until next time, peace out, one love. See you in the next one. Ciao.